What's up, basketball fans? Welcome to the Rats Report. It's time to talk about the Toronto Raptors because they have found a hidden gem in the name of Markquis Nowell. Now, I know as YouTubers, we throw that term around hidden gem a little bit too loosely, but after watching a lot of his highlights, I am convinced that he's going to be a special player in the NBA. So for today's video, I'm going to be discussing some of the things he does very well, some things he will definitely struggle with at the NBA level, and how he fits into the Raptors schemes moving forward. So if you're ready to watch this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you wish to hit the subscribe button as well, that'd be very, very much appreciated. So with that being said, let's get into today's video. So before we start talking about Markquis Nowell's game, I want to quickly highlight his stats here just to kind of give you a background on what he did in college. So in his fourth season in college, you'll notice here he averaged 17.6 points. He also shot the ball really well from the free throw line at 88%. But what really stood out to me was the assist column. 8.3 assists is absolutely fabulous. 2.6 steals was good. Now, this is a category that a lot of Raptors fans may want to close their eyes on, given how poorly Fred shot from the field. And you draft a point guard in 5'8", 160 pounds, and Markquis Nowell shot 38% from the field. But statistics can be deceiving. We know that. Statistics, you can put up great numbers, you can shoot up, have terrible shooting percentages, doesn't necessarily define your game. Now, as someone like Markquis Nowell, he obviously has the odds stacked up against him, being a 5'8" point guard, being 160 pounds. And not only that, he's 23 years old. He's going to be 24 by the time Christmas rolls around. So everything is stacked up, against him. But what makes him really special is his offensive game. And it's time to talk about what he does so well on the offensive side. Now, watching Markquis' highlights, I was really having a hard time pinpointing to who exactly he models his game after. And if I said Isaiah Thomas or Fred VanVleet, those would be lazy comparisons because his game is nothing like the two. In fact, the more I looked at him, the more I realized his game is very similar to Trae Young's. I want to play these few clips for you guys, and I'll break it down for you guys on what I think about Markquis. Now, as you see there, the one thing I found between both of these guys were they're really good at dealing with double team. This is something oftentimes a lot of NBA players struggle with, despite their experience being, number one or number two option. And oftentimes what happens is you either get three plays when you're getting double teamed. You get someone that forces up a bad shot when they see there's a double team coming. There's a bad pass that's going on, or they panic and they don't know what to do, and they actually hold on to the ball so long to the point where it ends up being a jump ball because the defenders get their hands on the ball. So Markquis, what he does so well is use his speed to his advantage. And being a 5'8" point guard, there's a lot of different things you need to be able to do on the offensive side. And for him, that is exactly that. Now, similar to Trae Young and how quickly he is able to get to the basket, I think with Markquis, what he does is he obviously attracts, a lot of defenders in college, but he doesn't panic. He looks around for his teammate. He's got great court vision, and he uses his speed to his advantage to get past the defenders and look for his teammates. So when you watch some of the highlights, you do notice that he's able to attract two defenders. He usually goes around them, and then he finds that teammate because he's trying to attack the basket just as a decoy to attract the defenses to come to him, and then he kicks it out to the three-point shooter there. So I think that's what makes Markquis such a good passer, his ability to see the floor. He's a very high IQ basketball player. He has a great court vision, much like Trae Young. I know Trae Young gets a lot of hate by a lot of basketball fans, but on the offensive side, we cannot deny he's a great and exceptional player. Now, does this mean that Markquis is going to be much like Trae Young? Not necessarily, but there are things you can see in those clips that they do very similarly. And Markquis also has great shooting range, just like Trae Young. So one of the things when you're a shorter point guard is you either have to have great three-point range, which we see with a lot of point guards around the NBA, but not only that, you also need great foot speed as well, and which is, I believe, what caused Jalen Brunson to have the season that he did. He was able to get around defenders, he's able to move fast, and Markquis Morris Nowell was doing similar things as that. So again, I don't want to compare him to every short point guard, but there's quite a few things he did well on the offensive side as well. Now, I quickly want to touch a little bit more on his passing game as well before we talk about some of his flaws and how he fits into the Raptors system. So one thing I really like about Markquis is similar to Trae Young, he has this one-handed pass which he almost throws so quickly to his teammates, and he's great at alley-oop lobs as well. So that's going to be exciting for Raptors fans. We obviously hadn't had a point guard last season who was passing a lot, so this will be very refreshing to see having him on the Raptors squad. And also, just when you look at him, he's a very smart player. He knows that he has his limitations being 5'8". He doesn't do too many silly things on defense. He's not going to try and block centers or power forwards or even small forwards. He knows he can't do that because of his height and his limitations. He's not a great athlete. He's not someone that's going to jump in there, soaring for big dunks or going for big blocks. But he realizes this, and he uses his strengths to his advantage. His foot speed, his ability to get around taller defenders, his ability to shoot the three-point ball, which, defenders have to be careful of. So these are some of the little things he realizes, and he uses those to advantage. In terms of defense, now he obviously has his limitations, but he has really good hands, much like Fred VanVleet, and he's able to strip defenders really good off the ball. So again, it doesn't matter if he's being guarded or if he's guarding small forwards, shooting guards, he uses his hands very wisely to strip them off the ball. So again, those are some of the good things I really like about Markquis Nowell. Now it's time to talk about the bad. Now, Markquis Nowell, for all of the positives we have highlighted, obviously the dead obvious here is when you look at the height, 5'8", 160 pounds, the big question will be, how is he able to adapt to the NBA game? He was able to do this in college because obviously you're playing with guys that are your age or younger, but also the NBA is a completely different beast. Is he going to be able to attack the basket the same way he did in college? How is he going to be able to handle physicality? And most importantly, he's going to be targeted on defenses, which is the big question. But if there were ever a team out there that is able to hide defenders, it is the Toronto Raptors. They have Pascal Siakam, they have Scotty Barnes, they have OG Anunoby, they now have Jakob Poeltl, they got Christian Koloko. They have a lot of these tall defenders that are able to kind of protect him and get his back when he does get blown by defenders. The obviously big advantage for a lot of people when they're switching on to Markquis here is the height advantage. So that's obviously something that he cannot change, and that's something, look, I don't know how he's going to figure it out, but he's going to have to use his body mechanics a little bit better, his hands a little bit better. You're obviously not going to be blocking shots, but those are the shortcomings of Markquis, and that's why he was overlooked as a prospect and why he ultimately went undrafted. Now, in terms of his fit on the Raptors roster, I think this is going to work out perfectly, especially with our new head coach, Darko Rajakovic. Now, listening to some of the things that Darko highlighted, his 0.5 offense, how he wants the ball moving, cutters, everything, that is something that fits in perfectly with someone like a Markquis. When you look at some of his highlights, you'll notice when he's able to find guys cutting to the basket, he finds them right away. That's actually how he gets a lot of his assists. When he's attacking, there's all sorts of player movement around him, which allows him to see the floor so much better and also allows him to find his teammates, whether that's open for a three-point shot, whether they're cutting to the basket. So having him in the Raptors system, not only do you get three-point shooting, you get insane floor spacing. So it's in the, I don't want to say Steph Curry range. I mean, it's Steph Curry, Damian obviously have their own range. It's closer to Trae Young, how you see those guys that are the next level. Amazing range from the three-point line, and his ability to break down defenders is going to be fun because the Raptors have three-point shooters. They got Grady Dick, OG Anunoby, Gary Trent Jr., but also what I really like about Markquis is his ability to play in the pick and roll. And I think him, Precious, and Christian Koloko, heck, even if he gets a chance to play with Jakob Poeltl, is going to be phenomenal to see. So he's really good at finding those passers in the pick and roll. He does a great job of that. So personally, I'm excited. I think he's going to fit in the Raptors system well. You can use him as someone, as a spot up three-point shooter. You can have him break down defenses and ultimately move the ball around quite a bit. And he makes quick decisions. This is the thing about Markquis before we end this video off. I want to quickly touch upon is oftentimes what you see with a lot of point guards, and yes, I am actually taking shots at Fred, is they dribble the ball too much. They have the ball, they dribble, and they try to either out-dribble you or try to, do some sort of fancy moves, almost like how you see in NBA 2K. The thing with Markquis is he understands his limitations, and he makes quick decisions. It's almost like the 0.5 offense, which Darko has highlighted. He gets the ball, he quickly turns and starts attacking the basket or quickly moves it to his teammates. So again, that's what I like about Markquis. He uses his intelligence wisely. He's a great passer. He has so many highlights when you watch him and you look at some of his highlights and you see that defenders are coming when he's pretending to go off for a layup and then he just slides it to the big man for an easy layup or a dunk. So Markquis is a very smart player. He's obviously going to have his limitations, which we cannot deny. And I think the big thing with him is he's going to be 24 by the time, early next season. So you really got to question how much is he going to be able to grow as opposed to if he was 19, right? So he has everything going against him. He has a big heart. He's a very gritty player. I'm going to love him on the Raptors. I know we're going with the 6'6", 6'7", 6'8" vision, drafting all of these tall guys in Christian Coloco last year, Grady Dick this year as well. But personally, I'm very excited to see what he does. But I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. What were your initial thoughts when you saw that we drafted, or I should say signed an undrafted point guard who was listed at 5'7", 5'8"? Let me know. And what do you think now that you've seen some of his highlights? You've seen what he's able to do. What are your thoughts now as compared to when you first saw him? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, I do have a trivia question for you today. And that trivia question is, of the last 4 drafts for the Raptors, which of these players played in Nevada in college? Is it A, Delano Banton? Is it B, David Johnson? Is it C, Christian Coloco? Or is it D, Jalen Harris? So whoever answers this trivia question correctly first in the comment section gets a shout out in my next video. So that will be it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you guys have yourselves a great day.